Hi folks, Six Slices here. Now, this is another knife from my high-end series and another one that I really like, and you may think that I just really like them all, and there's some truth in that because when I go to collect another batch, I'm faced with a cornucopia of gorgeous knives, and I have to pick out half a dozen to take away to film, and it's not always easy, but there are some knives that just jump out at you, and this and its sister knife did just that. As you can see on the blade there, and you'll probably have read, this is a Koenig. Now, Koenig is the business of a guy called Bill Koenig, who grew up in Tucson, Arizona, which is where there were a number of knife companies in Arizona. Medford and Jack Wolf spring to mind. But anyway, he moved from there to Idaho. Idaho is, anybody in the knife world will know, is where Chris Reeves knives are made. So a good place to be making knives. But he makes his knives, and they're all made in Boise, Idaho. Every time I hear the word Boise, I always think of Only Fools and Horses and the car salesman in that. It's called Boise. But Americans will probably not have a clue what I'm talking about. But if you look up Only Fools and Horses, it was a TV series in Britain. I think it would be the 80s, maybe the late 70s. It was of its time, but it was very, very funny. Anyway, so why do I like this knife? Well, other than the fact it's made in America, which I suppose is nice, there are things that I probably shouldn't like about it. The fact it's got a micarta scale on one side and a titanium scale on the other, an external cutout for the lock bar relief. It's a frame lock knife, and it's a flipper. So all in all, it's one I probably shouldn't really like, but actually I do. And why I like it is all down to all the details. Everything from the pivot here, which is actually a D shape. You see that? So that stops it from, it's not free spinning, obviously. The back spacer with the lanyard loop is just really lovely. This scale, now I don't know if the scale is aftermarket or if it was a sort of custom run from Koenig, because their standard knives are titanium on both sides, so I don't know. But I was probably told, and I'm sorry if you're watching this and thinking, I told you. Well, sorry, but I don't remember. But anyway, it's a nice micarta. It's beautifully machined, and then when you turn it over on the lock side, again, there's a beautiful machining on it. It's sort of, there's a sort of peak, a high point down the middle, and it's crowned. It falls off from there, but at each change of direction, you've got these lovely changes in direction in the milling, which is just lovely. The clip looks really nice. I'm not sure it's the most practical of clips. I'm never really a great fan of milled titanium clips, and this one is possibly gives some idea why. It's just not the most practical of clips. Now, I've not been carrying this knife around in my pocket, so I can't tell you with any degree of certainty whether that works or not. But anyway, just the finish on, even in this cutout, which I would prefer to see internally rather than externally. I never understand why people do them externally. Even inside there's some lovely milling. Now, when it comes to the action, super positive. Now, I've yet to fail to open this one. Most flippers, as you'll know if you've been watching my channel, my hands are rubbish. I'm no good at flipping, and most flippers I manage to fail at least occasionally. I've never actually managed to make this one fail. Now, I'll probably do that in a minute, but hey ho. Here we are for now. Now, when it comes to this blade is just phenomenal. I mean, I suppose in this day and age, a bit of CNC machining and whatever, I don't know whether this is hand done by Bill Koenig, or or whatever, but it's got a beautiful hollow grind, a lovely, well, it's not just a swedge, it's a double swedge. See, it's a swedge on one side and a swedge on the other, with a flat back to the spine on the top. And this beautiful hollow grind, beautiful finishing on it. I think this would be a perfect knife to use, because that sort of, I don't know what it is, bead blasted or whatever it is, finish on the blade itself would cover a multitude of sins, I suspect. But you've also got this lovely satin finishing on the flat there, and the hole in the blade turning into a fuller back here. It's just so well done. If there's nothing else about this knife, that blade is just a beautiful thing. And also, when it comes to writing on the blade, you have the word Koenig on that side, and then on this side it looks completely plain, but if you close it, you'll see hidden from view is the steel, which is M390. Now, I suppose M390 is not as special or unusual as it was a couple of years back. It's now probably a sort of a standard steel. And if you buy a standard Koenig Arius, it will come with either M390 or 20CV steel, and it will cost you $675 in standard trim, which is a lot of money, and so you should expect a lot for your money. But I think this is a knife that actually delivers. It may seem a lot of money, and it is a lot of money, and it's so much money that I don't have one of these in my collection and can't see myself having one, but it's a knife I would love to see in my collection. And it's a knife, if I had one, it would be one that I would want to use, because it is just such a lovely knife. It fits nicely in the hand. That blade is just beautiful, just so beautifully done. The action is brilliant. I didn't even show you some of the machining on the back. You've obviously got some sort of jimping here. You've got this sort of recessed piece here, so that when you flip the knife, there's somewhere for your finger to go. But if you just sort of see how the action goes, lovely. Down it goes. Yes, if you look from the back, though you've got those recesses, there's no way you can reach in there and get your finger down to the blade. So it's nice and safe. It's just beautifully thought out. As far as I can gather, they only have a couple of models, and this is the staple of their range. D10 is just brilliant on it. Actually, the lock bar release as well, I should probably point that out. There's just enough cutaway here to let you get access to that, but not more than you would need. Then you've got a lock bar insert, which is also the over travel stop. I don't know if you'll probably not see it in there, but inside there is a the lock bar insert goes back and creates an over travel stop by just going over into this piece of metal here, but you have just the one screw to make that happen. So it does keep the knife quite clean. You've just obviously the pivot, you've two screws at the bottom, which you do have on both sides, and the lock bar insert and over travel stop. So I'm not sure I have an awful lot more to say about this knife, other than it's just lovely. It's such a well-made knife, and a beautifully made knife, and the work that's gone into the design and the manufacture of that blade is just great. And also to keep that simple with just the word Koenig. Probably I'd quite like to have seen the word Koenig on the spine. That would have been even cooler. and that would have kept the blade completely sterile, but still put his name on there. But anyway, this is a knife. It does say on his website they're all made here in Boise, Idaho. So if you're an American and you want an American-made knife, there's no imported parts or anything like that. Everything's made in Boise, Idaho. That will probably have value to you. Obviously, as a Briton, that's perhaps of less particular interest to me, but it's still nice to know that it's not, this isn't, you know, knocked up in China and finally finished in America. This is actually made in the Free West. So there we are. If you like this stuff, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to make a comment, that would be really nice. I will get back to you at some point. And if you want to see more of these, and this, I know you're probably watching these and thinking these knives are getting better and better. There's better to come. And to beat this, it takes a lot, but there is better to come. So thank you very much for watching. See you all again soon. Bye.